I just hit the button. Hi, hello. It is the same day. I'm a little tired slash exhausted, but I decided to go live anyway because the one earlier was buffering so much. I felt some type of way, I guess. And this one I'm using my phone, so hopefully it doesn't buffer as much. I should also be using these for the mic. Now, I took the SKT Revelation out of the box. I could look for animals. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Don't know what I'm doing. As per normal, I did see the fairy because I was looking through my decks trying to find one for earlier. The fairy tarot, and I haven't really used or too much. So maybe I'll do the revelations in these fairy tarot cards. We'll just see what comes out. Balance in the world. The world at the bottom of the deck. Balance as the final card from last time. This is like, oh. Ever since I went live earlier, I felt like when I wear my headphones today, I've been feeling like tethered because I've had them connected to my laptop by that itty bitty USB-C cord. And so I keep feeling like I have to lean into my phone, but they're wireless, so I don't have to. Today was an interesting day. 6 of spring, 2 of summer. These are shuffling pretty nicely. Alright, fairy. Oop. Something came out. Wasn't expecting that. 6 of autumn at the bottom of the deck. The good you do comes back to you. An unexpected inflow of money. Borrowing wisely or repaying a debt at the bottom of the deck. I don't even know what can be seen because I'm using my itty bitty phone. 2 cards. 8 of summer, 3 of autumn. We got 3 of autumn. Or 6 of autumn, 3 of autumn, 8 of summer. Like the last card was obviously supposed to be the 9 of autumn because we got the pin of 6, but instead it's the 8 of summer. The desire for a more meaningful life, realizing that it's time to move on and choosing to make major life changes is the odd card out. 3 of autumn, that was the 8 of summer. 3 of autumn, follow your passion when it comes to your career. Be the best at what you can do, being compensated for your creative talent. I can't see when I do this. I feel like that should be like legible. I feel like It's, it's mostly here of what we consider to be a meaningful life and how a meaningful life can mean so many different things. Like when it comes to like a passion, follow your passion. Although there are a near infinite number of things that we can be passionate about, the advice to follow your passion is pretty singular. But like when it comes to desiring a meaningful life, it's like meaningful in what way? How do we derive meaning? Is it meaningful? For instance, it's like it involves our passions. Is it meaningful because it means something to others? Is it meaningful because it's what we're convinced we have to do societally? And this, the desire for a meaningful life, again, it's like it's almost what's throwing this out of whack. Because it should be the Nine of Autumn. So it's a season and a step behind, which may not necessarily be a bad thing. The 8 comes before the 9, summer comes before autumn. So it could just be like this 8 of summer card could be transition. No. Let's see. So obviously, unity is behind the 6 of autumn. We're going to bring this into unity by finding the 9 of autumn. So we're going to pull before and after that. Up the. Now, the 9 of autumn may very well be the 9 of swords. So. And maybe the Pentacles. I feel like they do autumn and winter weird. Yeah, I think winter is swords. Autumn is pentacles. I was gonna look in the SKT. Nine of autumn, in between the 5 of winter and the king of spring. Outside of that. Nine of autumn, reward yourself for all your hard work, being happily and successfully self-employed, cherishing your time alone. In between the 5 of winter, walk away from dishonest associations, realizing that what you thought you wanted isn't the best choice for your happiness. Something that's not worth it. The king of spring, innovative, inspiring, wise, theatrical, a financial windfall. Your leadership skills are needed now, an unexpected supporter of your cause. So it's almost like we were right to question this 8 of summer and what exactly, first of all, what it means to live a meaningful life. And secondly, meaningful to and for whom. especially because of the dishonest associations and the five of winter. Walk away from dishonest associations. And this card came out in one of the pick a pile, pick a stack, pick a card readings or something like that. It was like the third or the fourth option. And again, it's like it's a dishonest association in terms of how we associate one thing with another, and less dishonest association in terms of like dishonest associates, people we associate with. More so how we attribute meanings and assume that there's an interconnectedness or assume a certain relationship between things that may or may not be. So it feels like whatever we derail ourselves for, uh, in whichever way we derail ourselves for the reason and purpose of finding something meaningful, we may come to realize that it's a meaning that isn't defined by us. Or it's a very convenient way of defining meaningful that benefits someone else. An unexpected supporter of your cause. Ooh, look at that. Oh, it's the initiate, the fool. It almost like hit the table, but it barely caught on my pointer finger. The Eight of Summer should be the Eight of Cups. So, I wanted to say the Deserter. It may be the Defector. A card fell on the floor. We'll look at it later. The Discerning One, Mars and Aries, Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck. I want to look from the top. First card is the Golden Shield, Sanctum of Valor. And then we have the title card and the High Priestess, the Priestess Sanctuary of Isis. That's something that I didn't even point out. Mars and Aries. Two of Wands. We saw what the Three of Wands and the Four of Wands in the SKT for Vitruvian earlier. For how to make something a little bit more cutesy. Venus being more cutesy was Venus and Aries. Mars being more cutesy was Sun and Aries. Four of Wands, Three of Wands. There was the Two of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And the row of Mars. I'm pretty sure the Priestess came out as how to be a little bit more demure. Sanctuary of Isis. And then it was like in the, well, what is Mars like sort of just doing in general? The Necromancer was there. Gateway of Resurrection. Isis is associated with resurrection. You could say that resurrection, certain rites take place within the same all resurrection, sanctum of noises. And judgment is associated with resurrection too, on Judgment Day. Because it was judgment and the necromancer. Oh gosh. I don't know what this card went. That went where? I can find it later. It's fine. I would use my phone's flashlight. Oh, I was watching this anime, and they're looking for a miracle cure said to be. That's the second show I've seen where people explore dungeons for a cure for something. The third show, technically, where there's an incurable disease and something extraordinarily rare in the dungeon that can be used to cure it. Because I saw the camel, and I was like, where have I seen camel lately? They went into they explored a new floor in the dungeon, and it was a desert level, and the monsters were camels. That's where I saw the camels. But what's interesting about that was the high altitude honey from the Spiritus Rector, Benevolent Guide, and sugar. That raw sweetness, that unprocessed sweetness that we used to have to rely on. Because entangled, the flower is said to heal, cure, do lots of stuff. But, and then the spirit, benevolent spirit of Spiritus Rector being the pollinator flower, the pollinator of the miracle flower, creates some miracle substance as it does its part. So if it's a bee that pollinates the miracle flower, then the honey would have miraculous properties because the pollen that the flower has is also miraculous. So you could eat the honey and experience those miracle properties without hoarding flowers or whatever. Going back to that, just like miracle cure type energy. It would be hilarious if the card on the floor is the one that I'm looking for. I'm looking for Eight of Cups. I think it's the oh, it's right here. The defector. Excuse me. I don't know why I thought of it as the deserter. Oh, that's interesting. Herald of the Winds is before the defector, and then the Shining Flame is after. Before the Herald of the Winds is the politic, which is that Sun and Aries Three of Wands that we saw from Mars earlier. I think I was talking with my journey buddy. I'm pretty sure it was my journey buddy. Um, in the ever unfolding saga of what it is that Patrick will do next, and what it is that Patrick wants to do next, there is a return to a dream of yore. Um, and I was just talking about how I was talking with my journey buddy about how interesting it is that if I were to take that path, how I've been on this detour. And it was a detour, or it was this thing about how there's almost a negative connotation with detours. Like, it can be so easy to think of detours as like something bad, a waste of time, as doing things that ultimately don't matter, extra curricular, erroneous path activity that has no bearing or significance on the actual path. But a lot of times, if there's a detour, it's because of a road closure. And so you can ignore a detour and essentially continue on the path and end up at a dead end because the detour is there to get you around whatever closure or blockage or lack of existence of a road. And so it's felt like a detour, or it would be a detour, but not one that was insignificant. And I bring that up here because of this page of swords that comes with the defector and the clarifier, herald of the winds, ventures of the dauntless, embers of the salamander. That's interesting because there's a salamander, two salamanders in the Five of Wands challenge and the deck dungeon challenge from a few readings ago. And I believe the salamanders were related to passions of the past. And so I guess it's interesting that the Embers of the Salamander comes to clarify the card after Follow Your Passions. It comes on the card of clarifying what is meaningful to us. And I think another thing about something that's meaningful is it's almost like almost in the vein of a detour, like let's say that there was someone in your life, this is a metaphor, let's say that there was someone in your life who you discovered something with, again, maybe something that you really like or something that you're passionate about, and for whatever reason that person isn't in your life anymore. Regardless of how that ended or what the current status of the relationship is, it's like it's possible for the thing to continue to be meaningful. It's possible for it to still hold meaning even if the context that it was born through is different than it was before. What is the message that this Herald of the Winds is carrying? It's the Initiate. That card we saw earlier. Bottom of the deck now is the Quester. Mercury in Aquarius. Spirit in search of experience. Like it's like the thing, like there were meaningful experiences to be had on the detour. And once those experiences are had, it's almost like a currency that's collected. And once you collect all of the meaningful experiences that you were meant to have somewhere, sometimes it's like there's no further meaning to be mined, drawn, or gained by remaining there. All of the meaningful experiences you were meant to have, you have had. The meaningful connections you were meant to make, you have made. And so now you can like close out the detour and get back to the main path. Although, again, like if the road is closed, the detour is the path because there is no path any other way. Like if it's a bridge that hasn't been built yet, that bridge a part of the path rather than what does exist that gets you around that gap would be like almost a bit nonsensical because that's a path that doesn't yet exist. And yeah, the Three of Wands is here. I was gonna say, of course, you could like almost with that Three of Wands energy. Not in this one, but in a lot of decks, it'll be someone at like Cliff's Edge, and there's the ships in the water below. Like you could wait at the dock or wait at the pier for a bridge to be built or for a ship to arrive. Like that is something that can be done, but if there is an alternate way, then that alternate way is kind of the way because it's the only way. When I was visiting my dad, we were going to, like, I saw this and I was going to do something. Every time I sat down to go, I thought I would forget about it, and it's coming back to my remembrance now. There was a road sign that said hidden entrance. It was like hidden entrance ahead or something like that. And it's like, well, it's not much of a hidden entrance if there's a sign that like advertises its presence. But for some reason, the detour hidden entrance ahead. Maybe that can be it. It's been half an hour. I really thought I arrived at that point in like 10 minutes for a second. I was like, yeah, because I don't need to make this like super long. Especially since I got like some stuff to do tomorrow, so gotta pack and get ready and stuff. Um, yeah, I was like, but yeah. So then, after all these meaningful encounters, experiences are had, we exit the detour, or that's where the detour meets up with the main road, and we come to this Nine of Autumn. Cool. Depending on what this detour, well, it's the Eight of Cups. That's what makes sense. Because the Eight of Cups is like an emotional, tearful goodbye. Because there is an implied attachment with the Eight of Cups. That's what makes it so hard to like walk away. Um, it was just that like the energy of gratitude. There's an energy of gratitude with the detour. I don't know if it was like, because if it's something that, like, let's say there's like a job that you've been going after, like at a certain company or something, and you applied and you didn't get it for whatever reason, and like you're always sort of aware of the openings of job postings and listings from that company, but you go work somewhere else for a time, and when you go work at that other place, you build up like experiences and stuff. It rounds you out and it makes you a more ideal candidate for whatever role at that company when you see it. And it's almost like a level of gratitude for, it's like, while this company rejected me, this other one took me in, gave me an opportunity to like get in the industry and to like see they start building a career. But it's like, it's not to allow that gratitude for what that was when it was to stop you from going for the thing that was like always the vision. Spirit in search of experience is interesting because it's almost like spirit is in search of the experienced. Like, I took a tour of one of the buildings on campus the other day, and we were like, the guy was telling me about different research areas, like different research that some of the faculty, like, and alumni have done and were doing. And then I mentioned something about what I'm interested in, or I mentioned something about being interested in whatever. And he was like, machine learning and AI, like whatever that means, is like a very hot thing right now. So a lot of universities are looking for professors with relevant experience that will come in and do research under the university and like teach classes, build out curriculums for the students who are now wanting to specialize in that as they go into industry. And I guess that's an interesting thing about a new field is like, well, how do you teach it if it doesn't exist? And I guess that's how you bring in the researchers, the people who are working on the cutting edge, to instruct others. And then once they enter the field, of course, they can do their own research to expand the field, flesh out all the other things and stuff like that. But it's that like something about this, like something about the experiences you had in the detour makes you very, very, very valuable. And it's like you're what spirit is looking for. Like, spirit is the university. Insert in the blank whatever is that machine learning AI that's really hot. And then you would be the professor that's done research in the field or whatever. Like, spirit's looking for you to position you in a way to teach, help, guide, mentor, answer questions, or be involved in the part of the journeying process for others to come behind you. Maybe to do whatever they do, you know? Cool. So, yeah, the detour wasn't a detour. Because, again, without the detour, you wouldn't have gotten those critical skills and experiences that spirit is searching for. But, again, at the same time, there will come a time where the detour meets up with the main road. And the main, like the speed of traffic and the flow of traffic on the main road maybe a little busier than it was on the detour. Right, like maybe it detoured you through a school zone or through a town or something, so you have to drop speed while you were in an area where there are pedestrians. But now that you're back on the main line, it's gonna like pick back up the momentum. Cool. I'm putting these away in different places. Put you here. You see that? All in different places. So if they come out right next to each other, there's a card that's still on the floor. Darn it. Oh, and then I'll lay the cups on the table. Also, I didn't talk about that. How it's like, is that Horus with the moon and the dove and this Eight of Cups? There's this mermaid here, and it's like that person right there. It feels like there's almost something here about, like, maybe part of the detour was underwater. Oh, she's not there anymore. Maybe part of the detour was underwater, and so because it was underwater, you had to be made adaptable, or the environment had to be adapted to you. And so it's like, while part of your path led underwater, like you were able to breathe underwater, and it was like, you know, with the mermaids and the fishies and the everything else. But now that the detour is joining back up with the main throughway, it's not underwater anymore. So like maybe you lose your gills because you don't need them. She's giving almost vestigial structures, things that evolution has made, like snakes don't have legs. Why do they need pelvic? Yeah. I feel like the what, kind of like a tadpole tail. When frogs are tadpoles, they have the tails because they like swim in water. But as they reach maturity, they lose the tail and gain legs so that they can be land adaptable. It's almost like that. Like Ariel lost her tail and gained her legs because now she's a land girly. She's not under the sea anymore. Alright, let me try to find this card. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Oh, it's the Three of Swords. And we see Isis like mending this broken heart. Speaking of the priestess sanctuary of Isis, maybe that's what the detour was for. Now, these three swords are definitely puncturing the heart. Theirs in the same nebulous. Are they puncturing the heart or aren't they? That the Three of Swords and the tarot at the end of the rainbow had. But it's almost like they're the part of the path that was under construction. It's like while we've been on the detour, there's some very potentially painful healing work that was done. It's almost like if you go in for surgery and they put you under anesthesia or under anesthetic or whatever, they put you under. While you're under, you go on this like vision quest. And the vision quest is the detour. So while you're on the vision quest, while you're on the detour, the surgeon is operating on the body so that you don't feel on over here, you're taken this way. And maybe it's one of those things where, like, as you work through something on the detour slash on your spiritual vision quest thing, there is something corresponding that's done on the body. And so it's like basically they're connected. But because of the detour, you don't feel the full force of what's happening. And it may be for your own good. But that also may be why, too, if it feels like the divine is, or if our intuition and discernment is guiding us in some way that doesn't, it's like there's something that we want, or there's a vision that we have of something that we know that is to come. But our intuition discernment leads us in a different way. It's like trust that whatever you acquire or whatever that's happening in that different way is also related to the vision. And I think sometimes as people, like, we almost need to see an immediate correlation. Maybe it can be like, well, I don't know why my intuition is like leading me to this, or why this is coming up, when it's not relevant or related to what it is that I'm doing or want to do, like, at all. So even though my intuition discernment is telling me to do this or do that, I'm not going to do it because, like, it's not related to anything that I want. But little do we know, like, it could be. Like, again, the critical experiences that we're meant to have, or critical connections that we're meant to make, that is the path, where on the main line it's like non-existent because it's under construction or whatever. Oh look, 3 of Swords, 9 of Swords. There we go. 3 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords. But that's the 9. Here's the hunt that it was supposed to be. No, sorry. Wait, no, because that's winter. It was 3 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles. Anyway. Again, it's like they do autumn, and because not usually, but there is one system where the cardinal sign dictates the element that is that season. With fall, so air is like the fall time, and then Capricorn is associated with winter, with the winter solstice. And so Earth is associated with winter. But in this deck, they like flip Earth and air. So, like, the 6 of winter is technically the 6 of swords, instead of it being the 6 of pentacles if winter was Capricorn. Oh, I just bent the mess out of that card. Oh my gosh, no. And it's the Empress. I am so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Empress. Ooh, I don't like bending my cards. It's fine. The Empress and Renewal. Review the past and the present so you can plan a bright new future. Understanding your life purpose. Releasing judgments of yourself and others. That was that renewal. Renewal, rejuvenation, restoration, resurrection. Interesting. Apparently it's time for the magics of Isis. And then the Emperor is at the cut on the other side of that renewal. Now it's the renewal and the Emperor. It was just renewal and the Empress. So maybe the connection between the Emperor and the Empress is also being renewed. Maybe not. Notice how I made this like 15 minutes longer. Alright. Final cards. Let's get this one first. Strength. And this is an 11 strength. 6 of Summer at the bottom of the deck. The grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges, the power of kindness and forgiveness. Time to embrace how wonderful you are. Aw, you see the lady with the lion and the lamb, and everyone's like, chill. This gives me, there's a card in the Osho Zen Tarot where it's like the lamb. Well, I think there's two. There's one with the lion in the middle of all the lambs, or like a wolf in the middle of all the lambs, and it's like, it's that whole like wolf in sheep's clothing thing. But there's another card where I think it's like, is it the lamb, the lion, and the child? And it's like they're all sort of like variations of the same person. Like this is almost giving me that. This person is at peace with their inner lion and their inner lamb, and can allow whichever. Because like that's the thing about like a divine strength. It is as strong as it needs to be. And so they can apply an appropriate amount of force. And that amount of audiences on the spectrum of lamb to lion, this is almost like awareness to be able to show up as needed. Yeah, grace and inner strength. A long, long, long time ago now, that was tempered strength, which is kind of what tiger is for me. But tiger is strength that needs to be tempered. Whereas because of who the lion is, they don't necessarily have to. It's like because the lion is known as the king of the jungle, they're within like the iconography, if I'm using how I want to use it, within the iconography of lion, there is no strength that is too much strength because the lion is the king. But because the tiger isn't the king, um, it has to be like careful not to, not that it's like it doesn't outshine the lion, but tiger needs grace to balance out that strength, or like a wisdom or knowledge. Bottom of the deck, six of summer. Children or childhood, the return of people or romances from your past, remembering events differently in a better or worse light than how they really occurred. Like this is so much about the past that's interesting. And maybe it was the card of renewal that talked about the past. Making peace with the past and present to create a bright new future or something like that. But also, again, there is all those, there are all those energies of resurrection, renewal, rejuvenation, restoration. And that's like, in order for something to be renewed, restored, rejuvenated, or resurrected, it is almost implied that it's returning to a past state, like before it was hurt. So it can be an energy that undoes certain things. But to, again, to undo something, there has to be a healthy relationship with the past. Because that's essentially what it's returning to. And I've seen a few shows that have like OP level healing magics that work on that concept. They just like, basically it's like it uses a factory default. Not a factory default. It uses a, when you create a backup, it uses a backup. It restores a backup. It reverts someone to the state they were in before they sustained whatever injury. And so can even like bring back the dead because it restores them to before they died. Now, in those same shows, that magic often comes with a price, a cost. Sometimes it's the person that uses it that has to take on the injury that they're healing in some way. Maybe it's just the pain of it. Maybe they have to like actually take it on. Excuse me, the card that just came out is the Sacred Word, Ace of Swords, the Crowning. As the final card here. Can't read this. I don't have enough brain power. But it's almost giving me the sword deck dungeon challenges. Like going from one word to another by changing one letter. Because each of these circles within the crest on the crown or the sword or whatever has letters. So they all got letters. Maybe you can't see it. Maybe it won't focus. And it's like if you align them in a certain way, you can spell different words. This sword is also like so high above the clouds. You see the clouds here at the bottom of the card, and then like the stars in space above it. Like this is in the crown of the atmosphere between the upper layers. I don't remember stratosphere, ionosphere. Like I feel like I didn't really like learn them. I probably read about them when I was in elementary at some point. And like it was taught, but I feel like I was never necessarily tested on like them super intensely, you know. Maybe when you learn about the water cycle, you learn about the different layers of the atmosphere. But anyway, another thing that I look at when I look at Ace of Swords cards is how far the crown is from the cross guard, from the hilt, because this is where we actually hold the sword. This is where our hand goes. This is our interaction unless we're on the receiving end of the sword. And the crown is right there. Now, when the crown is like at the tip of the sword or even above the sword, it's something that is like, it could be a realization or information that is almost like there is no practical application of that knowledge. Or it's like a truth that we can't integrate yet because like we're just not at a position where it matters. Ace of like when, especially when the it could be like turn left. What does that mean? Like right now, I'm not going anywhere. But let's say like in 5 years, I'm driving somewhere or I'm going somewhere and I'm a little lost and I don't know if I should like turn left or go straight. Now when I'm in this situation, now I know what turn left means. But because of that, or like before that, it's just like, what does this mean? Is it helpful? Yes. Is it a truth? Yes. Does it has the potential to do whatever? Yeah, because turn left, have a critical experience or make a critical connection or arrive to your destination on time. But until you're in the situation where you have to make that choice, it's not really helpful or beneficial. But here again, the crown is like right there. Bottom of the deck is the Demon, Capricorn, battling the Typhon. Because, of course, why wouldn't it be? But now, oh, you get a sword and a shield for battle. And you know what that information is for. Maybe that's why the crown is on the sword too. Because it's something that's more immediate or relevant. Oh, bottom 3 cards. Under the demon is the Chancellor Justice and the Archangel Commander. Battling the Typhon, there's the Archangel Commander and the Energy of Justice in between them. With at least the shield that is very similar, and a sword. Sword. The shield to its side, and the crown, the dial on the crown here is the dial on the helmet there. The Empress is under the Archangel Commander. We've been prepared for this battle, whatever it is. Again, there's that energy of like, this is the moment where we utilize whatever. This is where we turn left. So if in the past we received turn left, so maybe something that will help us move forward, or maybe something that will help us navigate the change and transition we find ourselves in. It's knowledge and information that we've already received in the past. Maybe we didn't have the context for it or know when or where it would be applicable. Could be now. So that's what I got. I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, genuinely you find. And we'll see. Hey Holly, hey Matthew, how y'all doing? Pluto did go back into Capricorn. I forgot about that. And maybe it's like it's the final countdown, the final showdown, the final face-off with the Archangel Commander and Justice going off against that Capricorn energy. And again, with that Ace of Swords there. All components of the yeah. See. We'll see what happens in these next few days. I'm not going to make promises or guarantees being live or not being live, because I will say though, I've been noticing for quite some time a certain collective experience that I didn't necessarily anticipate having. On the contrary, I thought I wouldn't be having the collective experience that I've been noticing, but as life would have it, I guess I am. So we'll see. I know you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but that's fine. As per usual on this channel. Yeah, anyway, I'll catch y'all later. Bye.